31st Street. New U Fitness. Is the representative of New U Fitness present this evening?
He was not able to be here, but there is a letter from him in your packet.
Okay.
I saw it, but I didn't read the details because I thought we'd have it tonight, so.
He had a
Page
water
20
leak.
It's on page 28 there, or whoever's scrolling. There it is.
Should I count it? I have it on page 26.
Yeah, big pardon. The
Yeah.
item came up at different page.
What did you say, 26?
I've never seen that.
Oh.
Did he say they made the repairs? I couldn't remember that. I saw the table.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, he made the repairs. And I guess he thought they were done, went out of town, came back in and realized that it was still leaking, and then made the repairs again.
Oh, the toilet flapper?
It's just 1 month that I saw that was, that spiked up there, right? Maybe close to 2 months.
It's, yeah, across
And-
2 months.
Okay. That's 2 months, July and August.
Is that what it ended up being with the toilet flapper? I think that's what I'm saying.
That's what he said.
It was toilet flappers.
I had a question on procedures for that. Is it normal, or is it normal to adjust upon request?
If they have a situation that's beyond their control, a water leak that comes up, that they should not normally have been aware of, and then they can demonstrate to us that they've made repairs, then typically we will adjust that bill, and normally we'll go to the average of the prior 12 months.
Okay,
Is what we'll average those bills down to. Now, if it's one where their bill jumps up there and they go along for 6 or 7 months and don't do anything, we're not typically going to go back and adjust all that time because they should have reasonably known that they have a problem and failed to address that. But most of the time, we'll see 1, 2, or 3 months where we'll have an issue and we're able to adjust that.
okay,
On smaller amounts, when it's a small leak, the public works has the authority to make minor adjustments to bills when they can demonstrate that there was an issue like that.
Carl, I'm comfortable with accommodating, but how critical is it? We usually like for them to be here to present. And when they're not, we've made exceptions. And it's nice that they made the documentation. Is there any issue with setting a precedent of, starting, or shall we start accepting, the documentation?
I have no problem accepting the documentation. We provided the detailed assessment on what the issue was, how it's been corrected. Typically, we've had people just don't show up. They request that they don't show up. We really don't know what has happened.
The proper documentation. I was comfortable with what I saw on that. So
I am as well.
Yeah.
I'll make motion that we adjust this water bill for those 2 months to the 12-month average,
Prior 12 months, yep.
or 12-month average.
Second.
Motion second for adjusting the utility account.
Kimberly, second.
yes,
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item 7B, account number 01-4569-00 at Service Adjuster 2020 Bradford Circle, Matt Pettigrew. Ms. Pettigrew present? Yes, please approach the podium.
How's it going?
Go well. Tell us what happened.
Well, it was back in the month of June, I think it was. We received a lot of rain and whatnot, and so therefore, with all the rain we had and whatnot, I guess at the time I had a water leak right on my main line coming off the meter to my house, and I was not aware of the leak. It lasted 3 weeks, I don't know. Once the rain had finally stopped, I noticed that my manhole cover was standing in water. And so that's when the city came out and addressed the situation and told me that I had a leak on my side. So therefore, 2 days later, I repaired the line myself. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
So it looks like we've got 2 months that, basically the, May and June billing cycles. Actually 3 months. We get April, May, and June are all above 50,000 of bill consumption. 3 month period there. But
If you have good indication of resolve after that, then did you repair?
Yes, it's been repaired since.
Well, so July and August were normal, back to normal. All right, do a motion to adjust April, May, June to prior 12 months, average of prior 12 months? Okay, I make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for adjustment of utility account.
And who's that?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Mark Duane? Brian?
Yes. Mr. President,
Thank you.
I'm getting. Item number 8, discussion of possible action on adjustment of water impact fees and adoption of resolution number 2023-06. We had our special meeting and we did an adjustment on our 5/8 meters, residential. We increased those by $1,000, and we also did an adjustment for commercial sewer. Residential sewers, for by $1,000 or by 15. Raised them both to 2,500.
Yeah, water was 1,500, sewer was 1,000.
Yeah, we raised them both to 2,500, but we did not at that time address the commercial impact fees. If you remember, we kind of went through a long process of our consultant did of what our actual costs were for water and sewer, and what would need to be adjusted on over the next 5 years on water and sewer impact fees and water and sewer rates in order to break even on water and sewer. And that was some pretty high values. He had us going to 6,000, or the company, I don't want to say he. The analysis showed that we needed to move to $6,000 impact fee for water and 6,000 for sewer for our residential, and for our commercial, all the way up to 20,000 on our water sewer impact fees. So in our discussions at the last meeting, you guys were both out of town.
I was wrong.
Yeah, so, our discussion basically centered around, we thought it was, more prudent to look at these a year at a time, so we would know our actual costs a little bit more, rather than setting in place something that would ratchet up over a 5-year period to a very large amount. And that way we would have a better idea of if those large increases were needed, rather than locking them in and then coming back and looking about bringing them back down. Go ahead and go a year at a time with these and see where we truly need to be in those out years especially. And so my thoughts, and this is just after looking at everything and thinking it all over, would be a $1,000 increase in all levels of the water impact fees and the sewer impact fees.
1,000 increase or up to 1,000?
1,000 increase. So, for instance, we did on the 5/8 meters, we went from
1,000 to 2,500.
on our water, 1,500 and 25 on our sewer.
Okay.
So we didn't address all of the rest of these. So now we've got a water impact fee of 3/4 now, which is 1,000, and our 5/8 is at 2,500. So we probably need to, I would think, increase that.
I think I would leave the 5/8 or the 3/4 the same as the 5/8.
Okay.
I think that's what basically what that 3/4 is actually supposed to be is the 5/8. Now, the 1 inch, nothing was touched on the 1 inch and above. And I would point out to council too, that the study, or the analysis that was completed by NewGen, also looked at 3, 4, and 6 inch meters. And we do not have any established rates whatsoever for those sizes. So it would be, if council chooses to, it would be establishing new rates for the 3, 4, and 6.
I mean, I guess we need to, because if somebody comes in and wants it, it can't be arbitrary, right? Like, we need to have something.
Correct.
Okay.
And are those proposed amounts on here?
Well, those are the extremely large amounts that NewGen had proposed, up to $20,000 or so, and that's, I would recommend maybe, taking off from the 2 inch and then increasing maybe 1,500
Per side.
per size as you go up, added to, that would still keep it fairly low. It wouldn't be, but I think it would help capture, some of the use there that
Right.
right now, I mean, we don't have anything at this
I was
point.
gonna
Now,
say-
keep in mind too, we have very, very few 3, 4, and 6 inch meters.
Can you give an example, just for our minds, of what would possibly use those sizes?
It would be commercial or manufacturing or,
Like, for example,
Heavy
what's
water
Walmart
user.
on? Walmart's
I
on,
think Walmart is on, it's either a 3 or a 4.
okay, so it's bigger than Walmart.
Yes.
Okay, that helps me. If we relate it to Walmart, I can get it.
So the reason for the larger amount though is because they were using the meter equivalent to calculate that, correct?
That's correct.
And if we do it lower, will it not have a negative impact on the water or whatever it is that you're trying to do with speed?
Well, and that's what NewGen calculated that by using the multiplier,
Yeah,
from, I believe it's ASW or AWS manuals that they use
Oh,
for this
okay.
type of stuff. And that's where it came out. However, I spoke with, Dave Yankee, whatever his last name is. I spoke with him after that special council meeting. We had a 30, 45-minute conversation. He agreed on the action that council took at that special meeting, starting off incremental, very slow. He said, there's a lot of cities that do that. There's nothing set in stone that says you have to go by these multipliers. You can certainly back off of that. Now, if you went above it, you know, if it was, determination was made to go above whatever that multiplier came out to be, then there would probably be an issue. But as long as you're backing off of those amounts and setting them or establishing those where you want to see them beginning, then there's no problem with that at all.
okay,
So this multiplier gets a little wonky as you go up, because our 6 inch meter, the proposed rate for 24 was 125,000 impact fee, and then 300,000 up out of 28.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant. And but
Yeah.
like you said, we don't have very many 6 inch meters on. That's very rare that we would have one of those. But using a straight multiplier like that allows those rates, those impact fees to get really, really high.
And we may or may not need it to, but may not.
We may, you know, when we talk about everything he looked at everything related to water and sewer, or his company did when they did the analysis. Our debt repayment, we don't know exactly what that's going to be at this point in time
Right.
on those outlier years. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to take it a little bit slower, but there's just about 3 ways we could pay for water and sewer. We can either increase all of our impact fees and our rates to fully pay for those, which is what is proposed in the numbers that they put together. We can go out for a bond, ad valorem or sales tax. We decided, you know, we've not wanted to do that, and dedicate those funds to repaying the debt associated with both water and sewer. Or we can do like we've done in the past, and we can continue to subsidize our water and sewer with sales tax revenue out of our general fund. And we're doing that now. So what they put together was a break even. Now, you might want to say, well, those things should take care of themselves. They should be break even. Water and sewer should pay for themselves. But you also got to remember, we build a lot of infrastructure in communities, and will continue to, that allows commercial development to happen. And that commercial development is what we live and breathe on, the sales tax revenue. So when we extend water and sewer, oftentimes if it's a good sales tax generator, we'll do that at our cost, because we know we're going to reap the benefit of either those sales tax dollars or hotel motel tax dollars. In my mind, it makes sense that we anticipate some of those sales tax revenues are going to go back and pay for the infrastructure that's necessary to serve those commercial developments. So
You mean via pulling out of general fund?
Out of general fund. And so that's why I look at it, I don't know that it is that critical. Now bear in mind, we're subsidizing water and sewer now. Every dollar we take from there, that takes dollars away from police and fire and roads and parks and all the other things that sales tax provides. So there is a trade-off. However, with as few sewer customers as we have and proposed $52 million debt payment, it's very difficult to garner all that debt repayment plus operating costs from a little over 2,000 sewer customers without raising rates to a level that it's just astronomical.
So therefore, some of that's distributed through water, through other customers as well.
Right. Through water, through sales tax is generated from the ability of those commercial businesses to locate, because we have extended infrastructure to them. And also because of the population increase that those houses have brought to our community that make our demographics attractive enough for those commercial businesses to want to locate in the city of Newcastle.
Circle of life.
It is.
Just to clarify, this agenda topic is dealing with impact fees. So to be
Right.
newly installed, it could affect a current customer or business if they change and add, but this is not designed to affect any existing connection. This topic is not.
Correct. Not at all.
So, and then we had one of our developers or builders last month remind us that, what this does affect are those, new developments and new businesses coming in. And so we're pretty confident that we're still in line with, we're not setting ourselves at a disadvantage to other communities as businesses look to come here.
Absolutely not. And we've discussed this a lot. We've discussed with other communities just last week. There wasn't a community in the room that wasn't looking at having to raise their impact fees as well, because
that's a question I kind of had the answer to, but
yeah.
I just wanted to get it out there that.
And these impact fees, basically, they're by law only allowed to be used for capital items. Impact fee dollars cannot go to pay operating costs for water and sewer. They've got to be paid for building new water line and sewer lines, paying for water and sewer improvements. So a lot of this money that we get from impact fees will go to improve and expand our existing systems to help be able to facilitate that new development or serve better the development that's already there by upsizing our lines, which we're doing a lot of right now.
If I can give just one quick prime example of that, this Tri-City sewer line that we did that completed roughly last May, April or May, that came from impact fees. That was over a $700,000 job, which cut our impact fee balance in half. So that's all that this money goes for.
And we anticipate more construction of that nature,
Yes,
obviously.
right.
As you remember, there's a lot of good things that came about that.
Yeah,
Got rid of the lift station.
Yep.
We don't have that ongoing maintenance,
yeah.
and provided an additional board across 37, so.
Well, and then some of that land over there can now potentially have different businesses on it because they don't have to be septic, right?
Right.
So, getting back to proposed, on the sheet that's been handed out, we've got TAPs. We haven't talked about, increasing those TAP funds. You're not proposing to address those, right?
No,
Okay.
well, just the impact.
And so when we look at impact fees, our 3/4 inch, you thought you'd be about the same as our 5/8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just call it the same.
Well,
Then,
are there 3/4 inch and 5/8 that we use both?
There are both,
Okay,
primarily though, it's a 5/8 inch meter.
okay, okay.
so I would propose that we raise our 3/4 inch impact fee to 2,500, which would make it be equal to our 5/8 fee. I propose we raise our 1-inch fee to 3,000 and our 2-inch fee to 3,500,
The 3/4 inch was what, 1,500?
2,500.
25.
And that kind of keeps us ramping up in size just in $500 increments instead of the $7,500 to $20,000 increments between those that was proposed by the consultant.
So rather than these numbers here, increase them to that number you're giving.
Right, under we're now 1,000, 15, 2,000. I propose 2,500, 3,000, and 3,500. That sounds reasonable. On the regular water impact fees now, Manor Lake and Western Avenue, those were special fees that were set higher due to the necessary improvements to serve the Manor Lake addition.
Where's that? I don't know.
South on Western, south of Highway 9.
Oh, okay, okay.
So before, they were significantly higher. What would your recommendation be on Manor Lake, Kevin? How much we want to
I would probably just equal them out at this
making the same,
point.
because that's pretty built out
Yes,
there already, so
right.
it's not gonna affect a lot of people.
Correct.
So just make those the same. And did you have any recommendations for sewer impact fees?
Well, so the sewer impact will be the exact same as the water.
Okay, so just make those the same as the water, and that'll probably be easier for everybody involved.
That's what council did for the 5/8 meter. Both the same.
So back to your question a while ago, Gene, these aren't at a level that I think will impact any development, especially commercial development. I don't see this as having any impact at all on somebody willing to come to our community and invest in a commercial development. Any other comments from council or questions? I'll open it up for public comment.
Are we addressing the commercial rates too, or just the residential?
It was proposed all the same, I believe,
Oh,
is it split out in the,
yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's-
it's split out on this form.
It's,
Well, So I think, and that's what I was talking about a while ago. If you go ahead and look at the 3, 4, and 6 inch, which is not on here, we don't have a rate established, then that should cover your commercial pretty much. Otherwise, on this 3/4 or 5/8, 1 inch or 2 inch, it's the same size meter, so I mean, I would leave it the same.
Just
As
make it
residential?
as residential.
Okay.
residential.
Okay,
Yeah, I modified the actual resolution just to show one fee for each side, whether it's commercial or residential.
Okay, so that leaves us the 3, 4, and 6-inch meters.
So I was looking at 1,500 on the, going up 1,500 on the 3, 4, 6, and an 8. But you said, council set the 2 at 35, so you could go up 1,000 on each.
1,000 on each after that.
Yeah,
so 45 for a 3-inch, is that what you mean?
yes. And then 55 for a 4, 65 for a 6. And if council wanted to do 8, then you would go 7,500. And that would be each on that as well. That would be a
That
water.
would be the
and-
new rate, or this would, that'd be the new rate, or we would increase the current rate? that
We don't
much?
have one.
We don't have a current rate.
But on the others,
That would be the rate.
these are the new rates.
The new rate
Yeah.
sets, so for anybody that comes in and wants a meter
Right.
after whatever date we set that, I believe October 1.
October 1.
Was what we set them at the last meeting,
So all these are the new rates proposed, not increase amounts, but new rates.
new rate.
All right, got it.
And, you know, our consultant group did make some remarks that, you know, this is, compared to Texas, is still just a tiny fraction of what they charge, but we're not Texas.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, you know, a lot of communities in Texas, Austin, all of, you're at 18, 20,000 impact fees for residents.
So they don't have sales tax, but they figure out some way to get the, I thought they,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they get it.
They get it. I've paid it. They get it.
He was discussing one city with me that just increased their impact fees that went from 3,000 to 18,500.
Oh, my gosh, who was that? I'm sorry, I'm nosy.
I can't remember what city he said it was,
Dang. Woo.
but it went to 18,500. I have it on my email.
And it's, which we all know, the costs of infrastructure have more than doubled in the last 5 years. And, hopefully they're gonna slow down, but everything associated with water and sewer is not up.
well, and what this panel discussed 1 month ago that hasn't come up specifically was the large gap that will exist between the two if we don't make changes. Right, I mean, if we don't make changes, we discussed last month, we saw how large the gap becomes significant, which
Yeah.
almost means negates the ability to do any new infrastructure, and that's
Right.
one of the first things residents ask me about, will we have infrastructure?
Well, and just to verbalize, I want to say you said the cost of just water treatment chemicals went up by, what, a lot of percent?
Probably about 50 to 60%
Yeah.
that it went up.
And then, water sewer line, the line itself, I know has gone up.
Jeannie, do you recall the line bill that we just got in?
Okay, well, they just last time.
I don't remember what the tonnage was on that, but it seemed like it was about $13,000 or $14,000. And that's for a week or two.
But that last check covered 3 different deliveries, that one you just saw. But it looks like each delivery is almost $5,000.
Yeah, it's gone up significantly, I
Yeah.
know. Whatever the name of it, it's not PVC, I call it that, but it's not that, it's what, anyway, yeah, a lot.
It's all.
There's a lot of, I guess my point is, there's a lot of pieces that go into it, and every piece has gone up significantly in the last 3 years, drastically,
I mean, I hate increasing rates on anything,
yeah.
or anybody, because we all pay those rates just like everybody else too, but, something's gotta give.
Well, I mean, water and sewage are basic, they're the floor level necessities.
And so, you know, one other, you know, thing that we focus on, you know, and we talk about this all the time, is economic development. Getting more of those sales tax generators in our community, so that we can reap those sales tax benefits and keep as much money as possible on the south side of the river.
Yeah.
But to do that, you've got to have infrastructure available to serve those commercial developments. So,
And that provides more dollars to go into quality of life issues for our citizens as well, because right now, we're drawing from everything to pay for this.
Right.
My ideal is Highway 9 and I-35. They drive up, they give us money, and they drive off. That's my ideal, and that helps with this bottom line.
and you know what? We are missing out on sales tax dollars. We talked about that before down there, but
Mhm.
it costs money to build.
We're working on it.
We are working on it.
We're working on it.
But anyway, so with that being said, is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? All right. No public comment. So did you get all that written down that we talked about?
I know, I was like, how, I did. I've got every bit of it written down. Do you want to articulate it?
Well, if you want to make a motion that includes those proposed new rates.
Okay. Do we want me to call them out? I haven't written down. Do I need to call them?
Sure.
Okay.
One record.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 8, includes water impact fees, and residential water and sewer impact fees. Same, what? I'm sorry, residential water and sewer impact fees. That's what I meant to say.
We've one agenda, this agenda is just water,
This is just water, not sewer?
so you get to do that twice.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, residential water impact fees.
Residential and commercial. We're gonna make those the same.
Okay,
I would just say water impact.
Water impact.
all right. So residential 3/4 inch, 2,500, 1 inch, 3,000, 2 inch, 3,500. Commercial, and Manor Lake and Western would be the same as the same size for residential. Then for commercial, 3/4 inch, 2,500, 1 inch, 3,000, and 2 inch, 3,500. And then, I wrote these in the wrong place. And then 3 inch, 4,500, 4 inch, 5,500, 6 inch, 6,500, and 8 inch, 7,500.
Very good.
Right,
A motion, do I have a second?
Second,
Motion second for setting new water impact fees.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
yeah,
Marcy White.
Yes.
Ron
Yes. Item number 9, discussion of possible action on adjustment of sanitary sewer impact fees and adoption of resolution number 2023-07.
Of course, these would just be the same exact rates as water impact fee. Excuse me.
I'll give you the motion for you, Marcy.
okay. Yes, it is, okay. Are you ready, or do we want to, we need to do anything? I guess we already talked
We
about it,
already
right?
talked about it.
Okay, I make a motion to approve agenda item 9 for sewer impact fees, residential and commercial, at the same rates for each size line as residential just proposed, not amended,
Residential and commercial.
and commercial.
Motion, do I have a second?
second,
Motion second for approval of item number 9, and change in impact fees.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
yes,
Marcy White.
Yes.
Ron
Yes. Item number 10, discussion of possible action to rescind and recall NPWA resolution number 2023-08 adopted August 24, 2023, agreeing to file application for financial assistance through the OWRB Drinking Water State Revolving Fund for water system improvements, AMI meter project, and in lieu thereof, consider filing an application for financial assistance through the OWRB Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
We are going to, we are applying for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund rather than drinking water. Interest rates are somewhat cheaper. However, of course, at the last meeting, council approved this resolution for the drinking water. So this item is basically just to repeal that, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. And yes, and there is no loan forgiveness on this.
We don't fall.
Oh, okay. Okay,
The no loan forgiveness on the original or the new one?
We thought we were getting one forgiveness on the drinking water. that we are not going to do that.
And why don't we go with that? Do you have any?
School
Yeah.
issues, yep.
So this is to get a lower rate, interest rate.
And water rates are lower, generally.
Discussion from this to that?
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.
Motion second for approval of item number 10.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, consideration of possible action from a resolution of the Newcastle Public Works Authority agreeing to file application with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board for financial assistance through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program, with the loan proceeds being for the purpose of financing certain water system improvements and containing other provisions relating thereto. NPWA resolution number 2023-12.
Will that, so this,
So a motion on this would be to approve applying.
okay.
Clean
So
water.
we changed, we
Clean water.
rescinded one, got a new, and, okay, I'll make a motion to approve item 11.
A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 12, consideration and action on the resolution of the Newcastle Public Works Authority, the authority authorizing the accepting of clean water SRF funds from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board, DOWRB, authorizing the issuance of Newcastle Public Works Authority clean water SRF promissory note in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $3,300,000. The note designating a local trustee, authorizing execution and delivery of the documents related thereto, authorizing the sale of the note to the OWRB, and the waiving of competitive bidding with respect to said note sale, and the taking of other actions related thereto. NPWA resolution number 2023-13.
Is acceptance of the note? Yes, please, hold up, Stuart.
Just for the record, Stuart England, Floyd and Driver, KLLC out in Norman, serving as bond counsel of the authority. And yes, what we're essentially doing here is front running the approval of OWRB for the clean water SRF loan. By having this item in place upon their approval, we are automatically effective and can go ahead and proceed forward. Otherwise, what could happen is we could have a little bit of a lag in between their approval and coming back in for this particular agenda item, which then delays the process. This is simply front running it. Obviously, if OWRB were not to approve the CWS RF application and loan, this item would be moot and we could take action then to just simply rescind this resolution. We're not anticipating that. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but this just front runs it and allows us to compact it down. In other instances, we've been able to do it as just one single item, but because we had DWSRF and then switched to CWSRF, that's why this is split out as its own item. In other, like I said, in other cases, we were able to do both an application and acceptance in one resolution. Again, just to front run that and make the process a little smoother. There is no loan right now because OWRB has not accepted it, but by having this on the record, we can move faster if they do.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Stuart? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to point out just one quick thing on this. If the loan is, if we receive the loan from OWRB, the debt service on this will be paid for with the meter fees that council enacted a couple of months ago. So the monies that are received from that each month will go toward the debt service of this loan.
I've seen some concern, social media and other places about people as to why do we have the meters fee? Because they paid for the meter when they were hooked up to our system. And we've all talked about this. I'll just run through it real quick again. Those meters don't last forever. And what we found, we're about 13 to 15 years in our latest group of meters, and they're failing. And not only that, but the longer a meter is in service, even if it is still working and not failing, the accuracy of that meter continues to decline. So, you know, we could be 20 to 30% of the water moving through that meter may be non-billable when that meter gets 15 to 20 years old because of the wear of the internal parts of the meter. So, you know, when people want to know why are we having a meter fee, that meter doesn't last forever. The one that you buy where you pay for it when you hook up to the city system. And so that's why it's important that the meter fee be enacted. It's not something we talked about this last time, but not something we made up. Most other communities have the same type of fee in place.
So the purpose of this loan is for water systems improvement.
Yes, it is to replace the existing meters, which we found are failing.
Okay, so it's a complete circle there. It is to replace the meters, which are needed, and we got the meter impact fee to pay for this loan to do that work.
Correct.
Just want to make sure.
And also to clarify, just because I've seen some comments, that is all the meter fee will be used for, is replacement of the meters.
That is all correct.
There will be no other use for that money,
Maintenance or replacement.
maintenance or replacement of meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what if you build up a balance that you don't need? At some point, you just, I mean, is that possible?
Well, there's still gonna be maintenance
Maintenance.
issues. There may be, and this is my thoughts on this. In the past, if a meter needed to be tested, okay, we have to send that meter in. It costs $100. The resident is billed, okay? If we have meter maintenance and replacement fees, there should be no charge
Right.
to the customer for us to send that meter in and have it tested if it needs to be. So, or we go out and do a flow test on
Right.
that meter, that's a $35 charge. In my mind, that goes away,
Right.
because that meter fee should be able to cover all of that.
And you could build up a pretty large amount and justify the fact that you're gonna have these to replace again 10 years down the road. or
Correct.
less.
That's correct.
So, okay.
Well, and when we passed this, it was what, 3 or 4 months ago, well, we specifically said we wanted it out of the water usage fees because we could lower it if needed, if we ended up with more money than we really need sitting in that fund. So if, you know, we purposely didn't put it when all this water stuff, it's a separate piece because we wanted to be able to reduce the fee if we don't need as much over time.
Well, and there's nothing in the impact fees or the water rates or anything. Water meters are not included in those items. Water meter fee is completely separate. All of those other fees go toward infrastructure,
Right.
building pipe or purchasing pipe, getting the pipe in the ground, pumps, valves, things of that nature. Operations and system maintenance, basically.
I just wanted to clarify. There have been questions flying around about it, so I wanted to just clarify so we knew exactly where it's going, which that's what we understand, but, you know, I just wanted to reiterate it.
All right. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve item number 12.
A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 12.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes. Item number 13, monthly treasurer's report.
At the end of August, we would ideally be sitting at a 15.7 execution rate. At the end of August, we did have some departments on the general fund side offering a little above that execution rate, but they were for extenuating circumstances. You guys previously approved that signal light to be replaced at Kids and Highway 62. That came through and was done in August, so that pushed that budget up. There was also an extensive tractor repair in that budget. There was a tool that was purchased that was budgeted for. All those little things that are just kind of out of the ordinary, they do push those execution percentages up, but it's nothing alarming right now. Some computers and then the chairs, the council chambers, those kinds of purchases, but nothing that caused any problems. And on the NPWA side,
Just noticed.
We're making it very
It's like, this is
comfortable
the
for
same
people to be here.
chair. It's fine. Sorry.
on the other
Jean.
side of the house, on the other side of the house, those departments finished within that 15.7% range. The fire department tax fund has brought in a little over $225,000 to help fund out what we have paid so far, which is $320,000. Just a brief rundown on our ARPA money. The first half is almost all spent. There's a little bit left to help contribute towards the animal control truck. The second half, we are spending into that one on the project that you guys approved for that, which was the water and wastewater master plan. The biggest update to that is that I did receive the invoice for the LiDAR piece. And unless that contract changes, which it could change, that leaves almost $229,000 from that second half of ARPA money that y'all could vote to use towards some kind of infrastructure project or project along those lines. For our fire station, we have paid for 6 draws to Lingo, totaling over $2.5 million. We have paid 5 draws to Navholz for the animal shelter, totaling $835,000. In August, our sales and use tax came in at $870,000. $735 of that was sales tax, and $135,000 that was used. That puts us 12.2% higher at the end of August than where we budgeted to be. We are higher than last year by 10.1% and the year before by 17%. Our incurred indebtedness is now sitting at $7.166 million. And the biggest thing that was exciting to me was the CDs that we invested in May. We got our quarterly interest statement, and as you can see there's a little over $117,000 in CD interest alone, thanks to the mayor prompting us to kind of invest those.
Nice.
It was really nice because the grant cost share fund, Kevin elected a certain amount at the end of the year based on how we're sitting to go towards the grant cost share fund. So regularly, the grant cost share fund doesn't have a regular income source. So the CD interest, some of those CDs were grant cost share funds, so that's growing that one as well. The grant funds we received in August, they missed having last year and this year, but we received almost $10,000 from the state for the forestry grant. Used to, it was around $5,000, but the last 2 years it's been almost $10,000. So that came in August, and the emergency operations area, it's only $7,500 grant money came in. The breakdown of our funds right quick. General fund is $2.6 million, capital improvement is $2.7 million, economic development is $34,000, cemetery care fund is $70,000. We are still waiting to pay for the light side of that, so with electric. Parks capital improvement is $137,000, fire station $2.9, admin and technology $206, grant cost share $2.6, certification impact fee fund $159,000. That one did go down because we was able to hit that clock to fix some of those overlays. The NPWA fund balance is $2.5 million, 1.4 in water impact, $675,000 wastewater impact, and the wastewater plant fund is $6.6 million, and our meter replacement fund is at $4,500. All combined, we have $22,538,000. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Item number 14, general manager's comments.
I think the only thing I'd like to bring up to council is we are still working on water agreements with the different entities. We have a signed agreement in place with Tuttle. Same exact agreement that we have with Oklahoma City to pass through, the same fees and things of that nature. We are actually going to meet with Blanchard this Thursday to discuss that water agreement. They have some questions on it. We're going to hear their questions, but it is likely that not much will happen with that agreement. It is the agreement. It's the same one that Tuttle has signed off on. Our city attorney has looked at that agreement and approved and signed off on it. So, and actually did some work on that agreement as well. But I just want to make council aware of that. The deadline to receive those signed agreements back was August 15th, and we did not receive one
What
from
about
the city of
Gold?
Blanchard. We didn't receive it from Goldsby as well. They had told me that they would like to see and determine what their daily reservation should be, what they were going to need. But I have never heard anything back from them on that as well. So just wanted to inform council where we're at on that and see where it goes from Thursday.
We have a plan for a cattle prod?
No,
I
there's no
mean-
reason for us to poke and prod.
Well, the only reason I'm wondering, like, without them being in agreement, it still keeps our,
They won't get no water.
well, that's what I mean, like, so that's what I mean, what is that deadline like? How's that look?
Well, I mean, the deadline was August 15th. So this Thursday, either they agree to the contract and sign off on it. Now, I have already been told through email and face-to-face that Blanchard City Council approved that agreement. And then last Friday, I was told something just a little bit different. So we'll find out Thursday what it is that they're wanting to talk about. But Blanchard Council minutes also shows that that agreement was approved. But we don't have a signed document. So,
I mean, there's really not much to discuss since it's the same agreement we're subject to.
that's correct.
I mean, I guess what's it called, the wheeling fee, that's
Wheeling charge.
wheeling charge, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that's really the only thing that's different from Oklahoma City, right?
That's correct.
And that was not something we pulled out of there, that was something our consultant,
Sure,
came up with,
sure,
for maintenance and, make sure that we were fully covered. And, Kevin said that they, Golden's still looking at what they want their daily reservation to be. We've told them what the minimum has to be, which is what their spike was last year.
mhm,
So but we have capacity for them to request more water, than that. So that's what we're
Right.
trying to figure out as to how much more. But we've made it fairly clear to them that if they want to enter into a contract, their billing started on August 15th. Because when we first met with them 6 months ago, we told all the communities,
yeah,
we're not gonna be in a position to sell you water in the future without a contract. And you have to tell us this year whether you want a contract or not. If you make it through this year and you can make it through some winter without having a reservation, which is what they may or may not be looking at doing, we're not gonna be an available water supplier for them next year. We can't. I mean, so, we've been very generous to be, available for them to draw water from at a very reasonable rate. We're not making any money off of it. We're not losing any money, but we're not making money.
right,
Either our citizens or their citizens bear the cost of them getting water and maintaining it.
yeah,
And we think it should be their citizens for theirs.
definitely,
Yep, so, anyway, so thank you for bringing that up, because that's, we were told by Blanchard that your mayor was out of town, and as soon as he got back in town after that council meeting was approved, they would sign that contract and forward it to us.
That was July 27th.
a long vacation. Okay,
So, we'll move forward. We'd love to continue to assist all the communities around here to ensure adequate supply of water, but they've got to be willing to work with us. One question is that all?
That's all I have.
Item number 15, trustee comments. Are we looking at striking Portland and 24th, stuff on this side of town?
Yes,
Thought we was.
So, and someone asked me about 16th Street on west, or rather on east. We don't have any plans, do we have any plans to do any additional work on Southeast 16th
on paving.
on paving?
Yeah, that you had talked to me about. We don't have any at this time. No, but I'm sure that we will look at that in the future, because we're trying, I think 16th, I think May Avenue, all the way out to Highway 9, are the only, well, not Highway 9, 32nd,
One second.
all the way to 32nd. I think those are the only two gravel roads if I'm correct, the only two we have left in town.
wow,
And then, now May Avenue, we have talked about paving that in next year's budget. We can certainly take a look and see if we can do 16th on that.
Yeah, we've got Pennsylvania, north of 32nd, dead end.
yeah,
We've got 32nd east of Pennsylvania, the dead end down there. There are a few houses on each one of those. And then we've got 40th Street north of Highway 9.
Yes.
So those are the only three other ones in town I'm aware of that are still gravel roads, but they have limited residents access to any of those.
Yeah. What are they chip sealed? Like, I think, well, it's gone, and I can't even tell, which is fabulous. They chip sealed Northwest 24th. Are they gonna stripe those now?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking so.
Supposed to be done this month,
No, that's fine. I was just, I thought that's what we talked about, but I was just trying to remember.
which that's what the mayor's talking about. When they start, they will start all the way over, as far as they can go east,
And then,
and then
Work
take
back.
off all the way to county line. So,
awesome, okay.
Any other trustee comments on public works? Item number 16 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Time I'll call the September 11th, 2023 meeting of Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell,
Here,
Mike Fullerton, absent, Gene Reed,
Here,
Kimberly Sutton,
Here.
Marcy White.
item number 2, discussion of possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make the motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Might remind you potential speakers that all speakers are clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the council. This time, is there any public comment concerning the city of Newcastle? All right, seeing none, move to item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items any member of council desires to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion of possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Being no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, consideration and action on the resolution of the city of Newcastle, Oklahoma,